You don't know what this is, do you? I can't believe you don't know what this is. This is the Aion UT. All right, okay, I'll forgive you for not knowing what this is. So, Aion is another new Chinese brand that has just come to the UK. It is owned by a huge car manufacturer called GAC. I'll tell you more about them in a minute. This is the second car from Aion. It follows on from the Aion V. It is sub Volkswagen ID.3, but a bit bigger than a Renault 5. So kind of in between those two classes. Aion is quite an interesting one because it's going for a slightly different take to some of the other Chinese brands. It wants to push the fact that it's very reliable. It wants to push the fact that it's going for quality. It's got a lot of really good kind of ownership propositions. What do you think? It's kind of cute. Yeah, I don't mind it. I think if you walked into one of the Aion dealers in the UK, of which they're hoping to have about 25 by the end of 2026, I don't think they're going to quibble on how you pronounce Aion. But for the record, it's Aion, not Ion, not Aion, Aion. Get it? Okay, I'm going to very briefly touch on who GAC is. GAC is the company that owns the brand Aion, and obviously it makes the Aion UT as well. It is a state-owned Chinese car company. It is not new at the car making game. It's been around for quite a while. It sells around about 2 million cars per year globally, give or take a few 100,000. So you may not have heard of GAC, but it's been around and it knows what it's doing. Aion is a fairly new brand, come to the UK and Europe with this, the UT, and one thing that I noticed, I was told, it's been inspired by an owl, this fascia. What do you think? I was a bit surprised because to me, an owl has kind of big, round, friendly eyes, but I think this is kind of an angry owl. It's got the angry eyes. But it's kind of cute. I don't mind the car. It's very smooth. It looks quite sort of aerodynamic. It does look a bit quite like a lot of other hatchbacks, maybe. Quite like the Microsoft Office Windows designed kind of LEDs down here. Very nice. It's got this, the grille. I don't mind the grille, actually. Reminds me of a snowplow, actually, looking at it now. But look, I actually think it's kind of not a bad looking car, the UT. I think it looks pretty cool. It's got a very, very short, stubby nose, which I will tell you more about. So if you follow me around to the side of the car, you can see it's got really short overhangs. It's got a really big, long wheelbase and really short overhangs. So even though it's a fairly compact car, it does look like it's going to have masses of space inside, which we will find out more about in just a second. Designed in Milan, by the way. Beautiful silhouette, designed in Italy. Aion described this as a, not just as a hatchback, but of course as a crossover. Now, can I have a little rant here? Because can we stop calling everything a crossover? I mean, look, it's not a bad looking car. It is not a crossover. I know it's got kind of black plastic things here. That doesn't make it a crossover. That makes it a hatchback with black plastic wheel arches. It's a hatchback. And you know what? That's a good thing, because not everything has to be an SUV or a crossover. So yeah, what do you think? It's not bad. I like the colour. I think it's just looks a little bit bland and a bit boring, but I do like some of the design features. Anyway, shall we talk batteries? Underneath that exterior sits a 60 kilowatt hour LFP battery, which is good for a 268 mile WLTP range. There are no plans for any other battery variants at the moment. Aion is keeping it simple, but that's a decent range that is right up there with most rivals, including the new Volkswagen ID Polo, Cupra Raval, the BYD Atto 2 and the Kia EV2. Charging is up to 87 kilowatts, which Aion claims is good enough for adding 214 miles of range in 20 minutes. But I think that's rather optimistic given the peak charging rate, so I'd estimate that it'll take more like 35 minutes to add that kind of extra range. You do get vehicle to load as standard, so that you can use your Aion as a mobile power bank to charge any of your electrical devices, and there's a heat pump for more efficient winter running. Of course, there's also a phone app to let you remotely control your cabin heating and check on your charging progress. I'm reasonably impressed with the sort of general feel in here. It feels pretty smart. So you've got this it's quite a high sort of centre console. You've got two cup holders. Looks like you could get a decent sized cup in there. Wireless phone charging, ventilated as well, so your phone doesn't get too hot. I'm quite intrigued by this look. So you've got this little kind of cubby. You click and open. Look at that, how cute is that? And you can get I guess that's for your phone or something else. I don't know what you'd put in there. Answers in the comments. What do you put in there? Maybe it's an old VHS tape, if you can remember one of those. It looks about the right size for that. Some CDs back in the 90s. You could put some CDs in there from the 90s. There you go. Vents, they're all good. I'm actually quite impressed with the general kind of fit and finish in here. I think some of the styling here, the sort of scalloped finish on the doors, is a little bit not very European and maybe a little bit tacky, but the actual material finish. So this car's got the premium pack. They're not quite sure how much that's going to cost yet. It could be up to about £1,500, but that gets you this big panoramic roof. So it feels really light, and you've got your sunshade in there, which of course you use the screen to close. I don't like that. Why does it all have to be in the screen? But other than that, and 14.6 inch touchscreen included. One of the loudest sunshades I've ever experienced, that I think. Anyway, screen, obviously, very Tesla style. Everything is in here. You have got shortcuts on the homepage for turning off your lane departure and your speed warning and all of that, so that's all good. I'm hoping that you can turn off the beeps because they're a bit annoying. Apple CarPlay, of course, Android Auto, of course, all of that stuff. I haven't really had enough time to tell you what this is like, but it is looking very Tesla-esque. Even the graphics and the way you look at these sort of the sort of driver stuff feels like it's very inspired by Tesla, and that's not a bad thing because the Tesla infotainment's pretty damn good. So, you know, I get it, but there you go. Again, quite Tesla-like on the steering wheel. The steering wheel does feel a bit chunky. I prefer a slightly slimmer steering wheel than this. But you've got a nice, really nice clear driver's readout actually behind the wheel, so that's all good. And if you go for that premium pack, you even get ventilated seats. The heated seats are standard. But all the materials and everything, there's a massive cubby in here, look, that's enormous. So you get a nice big cubby in there, a bit of storage down there, USB-Cs, and an old-fashioned USB, blimey. So you've really got kind of everything you need, haven't you? I think the driver's seat feels really nice too, electrically adjustable as standard. There doesn't appear to be any lumbar adjustment though, which is a bit of a shame. It does feel like this A-pillar is really quite chunky and quite sort of, you know, raked back, I think is the word I'm looking for. And it does feel like it might be a bit of a blind spot when you're driving. But the visibility to the back, when you haven't got a videographer in the way anyway, is actually not too bad. Like I said, I think a lot of people might be quite pleasantly surprised when they sit in this. Look at the amount of legroom that I've got in here. I mean, this is crazy. When you think about how much space you've got in a Renault 5, which I think a lot of people are going to compare this car to, I mean, this is another level, isn't it? This is, feels like it's more than you get in like a Volkswagen ID.3, so that is really impressive. You do feel sat kind of high up in the back here, and I do think really tall people might find they're a bit close to the ceiling, but other than that, really decent space. It's kind of like, you look at these seats are so chunky in front. They're like sort of command seats that you'd expect in a Mercedes or something. You've got big kind of broad shoulders on the seats in front. So it does feel quite sort of substantial and nicely finished, this car. I'm going to say it feels almost a bit posh, you know. It's not bad. I really do think the materials are pretty good. However, a little bit let down by this very shiny surround and slightly plasticky feeling door handle here, and the world's biggest window switch here. Look at that. Massive window switch. Still, you've got a window switch, that's all fine. Centre armrest with your big plastic cup holders. Ginny will like that. So yeah, that's all good, isn't it? And 3 sets of Isofix, which is good. So you've got a standard one in the front passenger seats too. So for families, that might be good news. And the door here, if I can just open this, opens to, it's quite wide, so you get really good access here, which, by the way, if you've got little people and you need to get car seats in, you need to lean in and kind of like, you know, get them to plug their little seat belts in while they're contorting themselves into all sorts of different shapes, as I have had to do many times. That is good news for everybody. So there you go. Those are the rear seats of the Aion UT. It's not bad, is it? It's got a boot. Who knew? So the UT has got a 440 litre boot and a very slow opening powered boot lid if you add that premium package as well. Ta-da! But nonetheless, it's not a bad size at all, is it? You're talking about, that's actually bigger than the boot in, well, most other things, including the Cupra Raval and the ID Polo. It's bigger than a Volkswagen ID.3's boot. And it's got variable height as standard, so you get your cables down there. That's all good, isn't it? And you can drop this down there, so you get a bigger boot, and you've still got cable storage. Do you know what? It's a pretty good size. Again, I think this is going to be what will sell this car to a lot of people, is the fact that it's compact enough to be useful and big enough inside as well to be actually a properly good little family car. I would say, look, we've got this 4 little dots here, which the man from Aion has just told me is kind of little Easter eggs all around the car as well. So you'll see it kind of in various different places. But apparently there's no real reason for that other than the fact that the designers liked it. Quite like that. But sadly, as you can see, no front boot. Let's face it, performance probably isn't going to be the main reason that you're considering the Aion UT. But Aion has kept it modest, and that's absolutely fine, isn't it? You get front-wheel drive, 201 horsepower and a 0 to 62 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds. Obviously, we haven't driven it yet, as that would have done some serious damage to the studio that we're filming in. But we'll be having a go very soon, so don't forget to subscribe and we'll keep you posted. Okay, so I want to talk to you about something called the Great 8, because I know I've already said I think the space inside this thing and the equipment are going to be pretty convincing reasons you might buy it. The Great 8 might be the real reason you go into an Aion dealer and check this out, because the Great 8 is basically Aion's way of making this car hassle-free to own. So you're talking about 8 years warranty and 100,000 miles plus 125,000 on the high voltage battery. They will also give you 8 years free servicing. They will even give you 8 years free roadside assistance and 8 years free MOT. The first 3 years you don't need an MOT anyway, but then Aion will cover it for the 5 years after that. That does sound quite convincing, doesn't it? Because it just means you don't have to worry about anything. It's pretty good. So I can see why that would get you interested in this car. And yes, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, this is going to be leased and nobody's going to care anyway. Actually, Aion reckon this is going to be about 50% retail as well. So there may well be people out there who are going to actually buy this car, actually live with it, and really care about that aspect of customer service. In fact, Aion have even told me that they're going to use the AA for servicing and parts and things. There's going to be a promise they're going to get parts within a day. I can see where they're going with this. This is one of Aion's big things, is they really are going for, you know, making life easy. Think about buying used. How good is all that stuff going to be if you look at one of these a few years down the road? It's going to be great, isn't it? So there you go. That is one of the things Aion's really pushing, is just making life hassle-free. Well, we all like that, don't we? As for safety, there is no Euro NCAP test on the Aion UT just yet, but the Aion V is on the same platform and that's scored the full 5 stars. Naturally, adaptive cruise control, semi-autonomous lane keep assist, autonomous emergency braking and all of the safety stuff that you expect is standard. As for pricing, well, that hasn't been confirmed in the UK yet, but we do know that the UT will cost under £30,000 in the UK and it will only be available in that one well-equipped trim. But you can add that premium pack if you fancy the pano roof. It's a bit hard to give a sort of decisive verdict on the Aion UT until we've driven it, which we will be doing pretty soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But I have to say, on this evidence, I'm quite impressed at the space and the finish and the interior, the equipment you get, all of that, you know, the Great 8 stuff. I can see why you'd go for this car. I know it's not the kind of car that's going to, you know, really thrill you, is it? But it's just going to be one of those does the job kind of cars. I think the problem with this is going to be the sheer number of rivals, because this has got a really good ownership proposition, but then do you want this, or do you want the Renault 5, the Nissan Micra, the MG4, the MG4 EV Urban? Do you want the, what else is there? Goodness me, the BYD Atto 2 and the BYD Dolphin. There's the Suzuki Vitara, there's the Toyota Urban Cruiser, ID Polo, there's the Cupra Raval, there's the Cupra Born as well, really. Skoda Epic, what about that? Or a low-range L-Rock, or how about a Kia EV2? You could argue that the Hyundai Insta and the Hyundai Ioniq 3 are both rivals to this. You could argue that there's... What about Stellantis? I haven't thought about the E2008, the E208, you've got the Vauxhall Mokka, you've got... my goodness, I've forgotten some brands, haven't I? The Fiat Grande Panda. How about a Fiat Grande Panda for you? How about a Fiat 600? That would be a nice alternative to this, wouldn't it? How about a... we must have stopped rolling by now, right? Okay, you're just doing this to, like, torture me.